Welcome back to another episode of Give That Fan a Podcast. I'm your host Ryan Blake. That's my co-host Paul Valley, and we're gonna have a little fun today, Paul. We're gonna redraft Mike Elias's drafts.
Oh, thank
And
God, man, because these shows are not fun. I'm just kidding. I'm
we'll
just
try
kidding.
we'll try to spice it up a little bit. You guys may notice if you're watching the show, we have our T-shirts in. This is actually my girlfriend's shirt. She ordered one before I did, but she allowed me to wear it on the show so I could show it off a little bit. This isn't the best camera setup to show it off. I'll have to climb out of my seat a little bit.
It's a good looking shirt. We'll try to ignore the fact that you and your girlfriend can wear the same size shirt.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that, but I have four of my own on the way, a couple podcast shirts and a couple others from the site. But speaking of which, Give That Fan a Podcast is sponsored by Birdland Sports. Josh from Section 336 has a great line of affordably priced Orioles-themed t-shirts available for purchase at birdlandsports.com. They've rolled out a ton of new designs lately. I really think they've pretty much doubled their inventory just over the past couple weeks. They've rolled out a bunch of new shirts, including Give That Fan a Podcast t-shirts, which are now available in both orange and black. These t-shirt designs are for fans, by fans. You can use promo code THATFAN at checkout for 20% off your purchase at birdlandsports.com. That's birdlandsports.com, promo code THATFAN, all one word, at checkout for 20% off your purchase. We'd previously been promoting it as birdlandstore.com. That link still works, but it'll redirect you to birdlandsports.com. Josh has done a little bit with the website there. Each purchase helps support Baltimore podcasts such as ours, so head on over to birdlandsports.com and enter promo code THATFAN for 20% off.
Now, is that for your first purchase only or for every purchase?
I believe it applies continuously.
Okay.
It even applies in addition to sales. They run a lot of sales. I know a couple last week they ran a promotion where if you bought a Gunnar Henderson T-shirt, it was like $5 off. And I texted Josh. I said, "Does our promo code still work if a shirt's already on sale?" He said, "Yes." So I have 4 shirts on the way. I spent less than $60.
That's awesome.
So yeah, so
Go
definitely
get
keep
your
an eye out
shirts,
for them.
guys.
What's that?
I said, go get your shirts, guys.
Yeah, please do. It's really nice and soft. The color on the website, it doesn't look like a true Orioles orange, but as you can see it on me, it's a really good orange color, very comfortable, and same size as my girlfriend, but that's not important. um, all right, so also subscribe to our YouTube, please, if you would.
Please do.
We need to hit 100 subscribers at some point so we can change the URL. But in any event, we'd love for you to be engaged with the podcast. Pretty soon, Paul, I don't think next week because we will have a guest on next week, but I think the week after, I think we'll start going live. And that'll either be on my Orioles account or on the Utah Street Report Twitter account. I think it can be live on YouTube as well. I'm not sure how many destinations we can do. I'm still figuring out the StreamYard stuff, but that way we'll be able to, people will be able to listen live. They can comment. We can pull up comments on the screen as we broadcast, answer your questions as we go. So looking forward to that, and hopefully we'll have that in the works in the next couple weeks.
Definitely.
Paul, the Orioles swept the Nationals. It was a short 2-game series, but they needed to sweep that series. The Battle of the Beltways has been around since 2006. Remember, the Orioles and Nationals did not play each other in the Nats' inaugural season of 2005 because the Expos schedule had already been created. But the Orioles' record in the Battle of the Beltways, they have 9 series wins, 2 losses, and 6 ties. So the Orioles add another one to their tally. They're now 4 games back of Tampa Bay. We
Mm-hmm.
thought we were going to be chasing Toronto down the stretch. We're now 5.5 back of Toronto. Tampa's starting to falter a little bit. They've lost 3 or 4 so far to the Jays. They play them again this afternoon. But the problem with that is for the Orioles, Tampa Bay has the tiebreaker. They won the season series 10-9. So the Orioles need to finish ahead of them. They can't end in a tie or else they won't make the playoffs. We've been talking a little bit about can the Orioles pick up some ground in September. They play 6 against the Jays. They don't play the Rays anymore. How do you see these last couple weeks playing out? I will say the Rays also have 6 games remaining against the Houston Astros, who they have not played yet this year.
And I think they have 4 games against the Blue Jays still after today, right?
They do, and they have 3 in Cleveland, who has won, I think, 6 in a row now, and
Wow.
lead
Okay.
their division by it's not more than a few games, but they've started to pull away a little bit. So
Isn't it
Tampa doesn't have
crazy
an easy
how
schedule.
they hated on the Orioles and the Guardians at the beginning of the year for the low payrolls, and the Guardians are leading the division, and the Orioles are the first team on the outside looking in for the wild card. Yeah, the Orioles aren't in the playoff spot right now, but they've been so wildly successful this year, and these were the two teams that were hated on the most for their low payrolls next to the Athletics. I just think that that's kind of funny and ironic.
Yeah, I think I pointed out on a show a couple weeks ago the
Yeah,
Texas Rangers spent over $500 million in free agency, and they are not going to make the playoffs. They're likely not going to finish above 500. Yeah, it's funny how that works, but it's
yeah,
nice to see the Orioles have a little bit of a resurgence. And we've been saying for a few years, hopefully this is the start of some type of long-term sustainable success.
and I think it is. And as for the answer to your question, um, look, the Orioles looked really bad in that series against Toronto last week, and then they needed to go out and win at least 2 or 3 against Boston. And I thought they needed to sweep them, and they lost 2 of 3.
Yeah.
They needed to win both games against the Nationals. They need to sweep Detroit next week, and honestly, they need to take 2 or 3 from the Blue Jays this weekend, and then take probably all 3 against them in the last series of the year if they want to sniff the playoffs there. Look, I said it last week on the show. I said it on the bat around too, that I don't believe that the Orioles are making the playoffs this year. I think that they kind of hit a bump in the road at the wrong time, which was very very recently. Last night I was at the game down in D.C. and I thought they were going to lose. Not from the beginning, but we were talking. I was on the bus ride down. And I was talking to my wife about it, and we were talking about how Patrick Corbin's ERA was approaching 6.5, and I was like, "Yeah, he's probably going to go 6 innings of one-run ball."
Yeah, nailed
And
it.
and then he went 6 innings of one-run ball, and the Orioles looked dead in the water. They bring in the relief option. They put the Porsche back in the garage, and they put Cedric Mullins in. He gets a couple of base hits. Gunnar Henderson goes bananas in his last his last few plate appearances, drives in 4 runs, and they come away with a much needed victory. So that was definitely cool to see. And yeah, they got to play their best baseball the rest of the way. And you look at this team right now. What are they? They're 75 and 67.
75. Actually, I can pull that up right here. They are 75 and 67. Yes.
Yeah, so they've got 20 games left, and honestly, they're probably going to need to go anywhere from 14-6 to 16-4, in my opinion, if they want to make the playoffs. And I don't know how realistic that is when you have 6 games against the Blue Jays, still 4 games against the Astros, and 3 games against the Yankees. That's 13 of your 20 games against some of the best teams in baseball. That's going to be really, really tough. It's going to be really tough. Like I said, they have to play way over their heads the rest of the way. So I
Yeah.
don't think it's likely, but it doesn't mean the season's not a success. It's still a successful season. They still should finish above 500 and really give themselves some momentum heading into the offseason. And that's when we'll see what this team's going to be moving forward. If they go out and they sign some guys that they need to sign, they need a bat for the middle of the order. But just on the outside looking at, I think is how the season ends.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with you. I mean, at some point, it feels like we've been between 3 and 5 games out of a wild card spot for a week or two now,
Mm-hmm.
and at some point you have to start gaining ground, not just holding firm with where you are.
Right.
And as each day goes by, the number of games remaining gets shorter, so you have to start to narrow that gap. And yeah, like you said, Paul, in order to do that, they have to play way over their heads. The offense has to figure it out quickly. It's interesting last night that they get shut down by Corbin for 6 innings, and then a pitcher with an ERA under 1 run comes in, and the Orioles score 4 off of him
His
in that.
ERA quadrupled in that
Yeah,
inning.
yep. So you started to answer a question that I had in the second inning last night. The Orioles loaded the bases with nobody out. Ryan McKenna grounded, I guess, into a fielder's choice back to Corbin. Probably should have been a
Mm-hmm.
double play, but Corbin
Yeah.
mishandled the ball, barely got the out at the plate. Gunnar Henderson RBI ground out, and then Jorge Mateo struck out with runners on second and third to end the inning. And I didn't see exactly when you tweeted this, but you said something about the garaged Porsche having an unproductive at bat. And I wasn't sure who exactly you meant by that. You mentioned they put the Porsche back in the garage and brought in Mullins. So is Ryan McKenna the garage Porsche, and how did that come about?
Yes. And I can see where the confusion it comes from because I tweeted it after Mateo struck out. Um,
Okay. I think that's what
but
threw me off.
yeah, I tweeted it after Mateo struck out, but I was talking about Ryan McKenna. And look, I have when I was producing Glenn Clark Radio over at Press Box Sports, we had Ryan Mckenna on the show, and he was a nice guy. And I have nothing against him personally. I don't even have anything against him as a player. I think he's a really good fourth outfielder. And look, the Orioles are 8-3 in his last 11 starts. They're 60-50. They're 60-33 when he plays, and they are 23-15 when he starts. So it's not like he's hurting the ball club. But I can't remember where I read this, but I saw in an article that they asked him about his playing time and how he felt about it, and his response was, "When you have a Porsche, you got to take it out of the garage." And I just felt like you got to know who you are. You know what I mean? And I also I understand being confident.
Yes.
I understand being confident. I play baseball. I've played baseball all my life. I've always been a good player, never been a great player. And when I played for Hartford Community College, I said to somebody in the dugout, if I got, steady playing time every day, I think I'd be a top 5 player on this team. And that person brought it up in kangaroo court, and I got fined like 50 cents or $1 for it in kangaroo court. And I was a fourth outfielder on that team, but I believed in myself to the point where I thought if I was their everyday right fielder, I would be one of the top 5 players on the team. You have to believe in yourself to be competitive and to play competitive sports. So I get where he's coming from. I just, at the same time, you have to know your role. And when you have a Porsche, you have to take it out of the garage to refer to yourself in that way. And I said that to my wife last night, and she was like, "Who talks about themselves like that?" I just thought it was a funny way. And when he calls himself that and then struggles at the plate, it's just kind of funny to me. I don't know.
Yeah. Wait, when you said the garage Porsche, I pictured the meme of, I don't even know if it's a Porsche in the meme, but there's a nice car that's sitting in the driveway under cover of this really rundown house with an overgrown lawn. It's a meme. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's a meme that's been out there for a little bit. And I thought it was some type of reference to that, and I was confused by, because I figured out that it was either McKenna or Mateo you were talking about, and I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't connect it to that meme, but I get where you're coming from now. I get the confidence, but yeah, I see what you're saying. You have to kind
And
of understand who you
that
are.
the fact of the matter is, a lot of people, myself included, have questioned Brandon Hyde with his lineup decisions and whatnot. And you put Ryan Mckenna in the lineup, which is fine. He's got to play sometimes, and sometimes you want to get your matchups, and I understand that. But he either bats him leadoff or he bats him like 5th or 6th. He puts him in the heart of the order. And Ryan Mckenna is like a number 9 hitter in any lineup. He's a 9 hitter. And the fact that he's batting 5th or 6th in the lineup, and then you watch, he was batting 6th last night. You watch Mountcastle get on base. You watch Santander get on base. You watch Urias get on base. Bases loaded, nobody out, and then up comes Ryan Mckenna. And you're like, are you kidding me? And he hits a ground ball right back to the pitcher that should have been a 1-2-3 double play. He's lucky that it was misplayed by Corbin. They only got the one out, but that out was at the plate. He shouldn't have been in that situation to begin with. And I know Gunnar Henderson struggles more against lefties than he does against righties, but Gunnar Henderson batting 8th and Mckenna batting 6th, to me, it should have been flipped. I thought that was egregious. And it showed last night. Gunnar had a huge game, and Mckenna, did nothing.
Yeah.
And then Mullins comes in as soon as I put in the right-hander, and he goes 2 for 2.
Yeah, exactly. Questionable lineup decisions for sure. Obviously, it didn't impact the Orioles to the point of losing a game last night, but another questionable. It seems like at least twice a week they're putting out a lineup where I'm like, why are they doing that?
Oh,
You give Mullins a day off against a lefty. I get that. Jesus Aguilar should not be DHing over Kyle Stowers. I don't know who's setting the lineup. I don't know if it's Brandon Hyde. I don't know if it's coming down from Elias or somebody else. I'm starting to wonder if the Orioles have any idea that Kyle Stowers, in his past 2 full minor league seasons, hits left-handed pitching better. He can't buy a start, and they're going against Patrick Corbin last night, who's one of the worst pitchers in baseball. He's a lefty. Corbin's splits are not significant. He's a little better against left-handed pitchers, but what does Kyle Stowers have to do to get a start against the left-handed pitcher or get a
He
plate appearance for that matter?
he strikes out so much, and I think that's what they're looking at. And I mean, his numbers against left-handed pitching the last two full seasons in the minors has been better than his numbers against right-handed pitching. So I'm there with you. It's confusing to say the least. His swing decisions aren't great. He has a lot of check swings on pitches that aren't close to the strike zone. So it
He
seems
does.
like he's making up his mind to swing before the pitch is even thrown. And I think that maybe they're seeing that. Even still, the numbers against left-handed pitching have been better than right-handed pitching. He's gotten, I think, one at bat against a left-handed pitcher, or one plate appearance all season, and he's been hit, and he was hit by a pitch.
Yeah.
It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, and especially when you consider that he's got, I think, since that home run, he's something like 7 for 18 since he hit that home run. Something ridiculous like that. I don't know. I'd like to see him get a start, and Aguilar had 2 hits last night.
He did, yeah. I mean, credit where it's due. Aguilar came through with a couple singles, although you didn't bring in Jesus Aguilar to hit singles for you.
No, you didn't. He's got
So
3 hits and they're all singles. So
not to complain, but it worked out last night. All right, a couple more things I wanted to dive into real quick before we do this draft because we're already about 15 minutes into this. Um, Austin Hayes hit leadoff last night, which was a confusing decision to say the least. But we've seen some signs of life from him. He has 5 hits in his last 3 games, including a pair of doubles. Granted, one of them was a blooper and the other one was a rocket off the wall and left. Nonetheless, 2 doubles in his last 3 games. September has been historically the best month for Austin Hayes throughout his career. If the Orioles get some production from him down the stretch, if this small sample size, little bit of a hot streak is a sign that Hayes is starting to figure it out at the plate, how important is that for the Orioles as they fight for a playoff spot?
oh, it's very important. It's very important because he and Ryan Mountcastle carried this offense. Mountcastle, and Rutschman carried the offense in June. And Mountcastle's having a far better September than he had July or August. So Hayes, if he's starting to figure it out at the plate, especially when Hyde either bats him leadoff or bats him fifth a lot, that's the main struggles for the Orioles the last few weeks has been their offense. And their offense has been wildly inconsistent down the stretch. You add a productive Austin Hayes to a productive Ryan Mountcastle to Adley Rutschman to Gunnar Henderson to Ramon Urias, who's been squaring up balls a little bit more, and Cedric Mullins. Now and Anthony Santander, who's been a stud the entire second half of the season.
Yeah.
If now you have an elongated lineup that can score some runs, and these things tend to snowball, right? One guy gets going, then another guy gets going, then the entire lineup gets going because they're feeding off each other. I think it's huge, and I think that if the Orioles have any shot at getting to the playoffs, and again, I don't think it's likely, but I'm not saying it's impossible. If the Orioles have any shot at getting to the playoffs, this offense is going to need to step it up. And aside from the last 2 nights, they haven't shown that they can do that. So Hayes, in the middle of getting back to where he was in the first 3 months of the year, that's huge for this team.
Yeah, that'd be massive. And speaking of guys who have been key down the stretch, Gunnar Henderson in his first 14 big league games, and we've talked about guys with a learning curve coming to the majors.
Mm-hmm.
Gunnar Henderson has not seemed to be affected by that learning curve in the slightest bit. He's a 320 batting average, 370 on base, 520 slugging percentage. That's an 890 OPS, a 145 OPS plus, and he already has half a win above replacement according to Baseball Reference. That's a 5.8 BWAR per 162 games.
Mm-hmm.
Gunnar Henderson has. You tweeted last night, Paul. He's a superstar already.
Yeah, the guy comes up in big situations and finds a way to drive in runs, finds a way to get that big hit. The Orioles have runners on first and second last night with Henderson coming to the plate, and I think there were 2 outs. And he rips that ball down the left field line. It was going to be a triple regardless because of his speed. And then the guy botches the throw, and he ends up scoring for a Little League home run. The guy just comes up time and time again and produces for this team. And yeah, you know that there's going to be a learning curve at some point. The other shoe's going to drop at some point. He's going to have his struggles. He can get figured out a little bit. But look at what Rutschman did, what Julio Rodriguez did, what Bobby Witt did in their first 50 at-bats. And he's been far and away better than all of them. I think this guy's got superstar written all over him. He came up and did exactly what we we thought was a long shot that he was going to do what he's done, but this is what we thought he could do for this lineup, and he's been absolutely incredible. And now he gets an entire off season to hone his craft, work on the few weaknesses that we've seen to this point, and come out next year and be probably the top candidate for Rookie of the Year. Gunnar Henderson is becoming a superstar right before our eyes, and it's really, really fun to watch. You trust when he comes up. You're not like, oh, he's a rookie. You're like, this dude's going to get the job done, and it's awesome.
Yeah, nine runs batted in so far in his first 14 games. He's got a bomb in a bag. I think, was it 4 of those runs batted in that came last night?
Yep.
It's at least 3. Yeah, 4. He had the RBI ground out. He doesn't get the RBI for the Little League home run because of the error in left field. He
But he
did
got
not.
two RBIs on that.
Right, 2 RBIs on that, and then the double off the wall in right center field, kind of near your seats. You guys had a good spot last night.
If you watch Taran Vavra's hit that he got thrown out of second base, if you watch his hit and you see a guy in an orange shirt stand up and like start to lean over, that's me. You can see me in the replay, but I mean it's far away. You can't see my face; it's really granular. But that's me.
It's cool. It's cool to just be there, you know.
Yeah.
I'll have to go take a look at that. All right, Paul. We're gonna dive into a bit of a fun exercise that just kind of came to me last night out of the blue. I was trying to plan for the show, and I thought, we were watching Gunnar Henderson tear it up. Kyle Stowers has been good lately. Adley Rutschman has been great since he came up. Mike Elias has drafted very well, it appears.
Mm-hmm.
We're just starting to reap the benefits of the 2019 draft. We'll start to see 2020 and 2021 coming pretty soon. 2022 still a bit far off, but I think we're deep enough into the Elias, Sig Mejdal regime, Brad Ciolek, all those guys, to redraft his first 4 drafts. And international signings will be included. But here are the rules. We're both going to select 10 players. It'll be a snake format. I'm going to ask you an Orioles trivia question. If you get it right, you get to choose whether you pick first or second. I already mentioned international signings can be included. We're each going to draft one pitcher because the Orioles haven't drafted many pitchers.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of slim pickings in that regard. So I figure we just kind of make a lineup. We'll have a pitcher, a catcher, 4 infielders, 3 outfielders, 1 additional position player. And then once that's done, we'll compile the rosters. We'll put them in a batting order, and we'll let the listeners vote on who has the better team. One caveat that I didn't realize until I actually kind of did a little mock draft last night just because I was trying to see how it might play out. There aren't any true first basemen that have been drafted high. So put whoever you want over at first base. That doesn't matter too much. The point is 4 infielders, you can arrange them however you like.
Sure.
All right, Paul. So I'm going to ask you a trivia question, and I'm going to give you a couple options for how we can go about it.
I'm nervous. I'm actually getting anxiety about this because I feel like I probably know it, but I'm going to get it wrong anyway.
I think you can get at least close to it just by, thinking back on Orioles teams.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm going to ask you the question first, and then I'm going to give you your 2 options. Since the Orioles moved to Baltimore in 1954, there have been 5 players to post a single season slugging percentage above 600.
Okay.
I want you to A, name all 5 of them, but I will allow you 1 incorrect answer, or name 4 of them without giving me an incorrect answer. You get to pick one of those 2 options, but you can't flip-flop once we start.
So I have to get 5 of them.
If you want to guess all 5, I'll give you 1 free wrong answer.
Or 4, but I can't get a wrong answer.
Right.
All right. Let's do the 5. And I think that because I think I can get 5 in 6 guesses.
I think you can. There aren't any. None of the names are curveballs. It's just a matter of getting the right names.
I think one of them might be. All right, so Chris Davis is obviously one of them.
634 in 2013.
Brady Anderson.
Brady Anderson, 637 in 1996.
I want to say Frank Robinson, but I think he only had like 22 doubles in 66. So I'm going to keep that in my pocket for right now.
Okay.
Raphael Palmeiro, I think, in 98.
That is incorrect.
Damn. Really?
Palmeiro's in the top 10 of the home run list, but he is
He had he
not.
had he had like 43 homers and like 38 doubles that year.
Let me see what his pull up his baseball reference page. Let's see. I know I was looking at the home runs to see if they matched up with that. He said 98. His slugging percentage in 98 was 565.
That's crazy. How many doubles did he have?
He had 36 doubles, 1 triple, 43 home runs in 709 plate appearances.
Oh man. I think. Okay, so I got Chris Davis.
You got Chris Davis.
He's not on the list twice, right? Like I don't have to name.
None of the 5 players are duplicated.
None of the 5 players are duplicated. So
You
I
got
got
Davis.
one wrong.
You got Brady Anderson.
Okay.
I'm willing to give you a bit of a hint. The other 3 are from. The other 3 happened before you or I were born.
Really?
Really.
Okay.
So there's no Trumbo. There's no Nelson Cruz. There's no Albert Bell.
Oh, he was the one who I kind of was like, that might be the curveball, but now that I know that it's not anybody that happened before, it happened before you and I were born. So I got Anderson, I got Davis. I'm just gonna go ahead and say Frank Robinson.
Frank Robinson had a 637 slugging percentage in 1966.
Okay.
There are 2 more.
Oh man. Boog Pal.
Boog Powell, 606 slugging percentage in 1964.
And
There's
then
1 remaining, and he is the leader of the pack.
Leader of the pack.
The highest single season slugging percentage in Orioles history. And this list goes back to the Browns as well.
Ew, that.
Yeah,
he was a Brown?
No. He was an I'm saying since the ones I'm asking are since they became the Orioles. But there are players on the list. George Sisler's on the list. Ken Williams is on the list.
George Sisler, but
I'm not including pre-54.
That would be like the Indianapolis Colts when they talk about how Johnny Unitas was one of their quarterbacks. It's like, no, he wasn't.
Right, exactly.
Jim Gentile.
Gentile, 646 slugging percentage in 1961. Congratulations. I thought you might falter after you got Raphael Palmeiro wrong. I may have been a little generous with that hint, but I'm glad you got it. Jim Gentile.
Without the hint, I wouldn't have gotten it. I think he hit like 41 homers or 46 home runs, something like that in 61.
46 homers, 141 runs batted in, led the league. 302 batting average, 423 on base, 646 slugging. Just a fantastic season.
Yeah,
third in MVP voting behind. Let's see, who did he lose the MVP to that year? Of course, Roger Maris and Mickey Mantle.
Yeah, Roger Maris.
Maris was first. That was his 61 home run season, and then Mickey Mantle had 54. Came in second place.
Aubrey Huff in 2008 is kind of a shocker to me because he had so many doubles. It was a 30 homer season. He hit over 300. But maybe he had so many singles mixed in there because I know he didn't have any. And I think he hit for the cycle that year, so he at least had 1 triple.
You said 08?
It was either 08 or 09.
08, he had 32 homers, 48 doubles.
Mm-hmm.
On base, slugging percentage was 552.
That's crazy to me. He must have had a ton of singles because I think he had close to it, like 180 or 190 hit season.
182 hits.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of singles in there.
Yeah. All right.
That's exactly 100 singles, I think, if my math is correct. All right, so Paul, that means you get the first pick in our draft, much to my dismay. Who you got?
You know what? Gunnar Henderson. I had convinced myself if I got the first pick, I was going to take Adley Rutschman to get the catcher out of the way, but it's Gunnar Henderson. I think his offensive ceiling. I think Rutschman has more value as far as behind the dish, what he does defensively and offensively. But I think Gunnar Henderson is still going to be really good defensively. He's got the speed, and his offensive ceiling is higher than Rutschman.
That really threw me through a loop. I expected you to take what you said, go Adley, get the catcher out of the way, because I think there's a pretty significant drop off uh, after Adley Rutschman.
There is.
But I respect going with Gunnar. It's a tough choice. I think Adley and Gunnar is the clear 1 and 2 in whatever order. So all right, so now I get 2 picks and then we loop around. So now from here on out, we're alternating 2 and 2. I have to go Adley Rutschman. Expected him to go first. He threw me a curveball, which is fine. I'll take my catcher, get him out of the way. Adley's going to be a stud. You take into account not just his offense, but the way he handles a pitching staff, the way he frames pitches behind the plate. He's really something special.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't think either of us can really go wrong here. All right, so now the top infielder is off the table. See, now this is where it gets tough because I have to try to figure out which slots you're going to try to fill as we continue. Now that I took my catcher, I only have one other pick. You know what? I'm gonna go. I think there's a clear top 4 outfielders. I'm gonna take an outfielder in Colton Cowser.
Okay.
I'm not sure I love that pick, but I like it.
Okay. It's a good pick.
I think he's gonna be.
He would have been my. So let's see. You had the last pick of the first round, the first pick of the second round. He would have been my first pick of the third round. Colton Cowser.
Okay.
He would have been my first pick. So
that sounds about right.
That's a good pick. Jackson Holliday.
Expected.
And
that's who I was considering over Cowser, but I want to share my outfield. Okay.
Dylan Beavers. They changed his swing, and he has been nothing. They changed his swing his final year in college, and he has been a monster since he started his pro career. And I think that dude's going to be an impact bat. So Jackson Holliday, and then Dylan Beavers.
Okay, I very much respect those 2 options. So you go with a couple 2022 guys right off the bat. I like it. All right, so 2 outfielders off the board, 2 infielders off the board, both of them on your team, and 1 catcher. So now I have 2 picks. I am going to take Jordan Westberg.
Okay.
I think he is starting for the Orioles next season. We may even see him for a cup of coffee at the end of this year. We'll see. Jordan Westberg and Kyle Stowers.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Stowers only because I don't want to give away my secrets, but I like the infield depth more than the outfield depth. So I think if I have a strong outfield, that bodes well for me. So I'm gonna take Kyle Stowers, and now you are on the clock for your next 2.
My cat is like begging me for the lovin's right now. Sorry, I didn't realize I had tilted my computer screen for a while. I had to grab a pen so I could keep track of this, and she's over here trying to get me to pet her nonstop.
No worries.
All right.
My cat was hanging out with me, but she has since disappeared.
With my 4th pick. And what how does this go again? Like, do I get like a flex pick?
You get 1 additional position player.
One
you can
DH.
slot whoever you want in as a DH.
Okay.
I have a running tally going on our show notes if you wanted to take a look there.
All right. So then I'm going to go with Connor Norby.
a good pick.
Kobe Mayo.
Wow. Okay. Dang. All right. Those are two guys I had mocked to myself. I like those picks a lot. So you now have a full infield.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a lot of power in that infield.
Yeah.
You've got a guy in Mayo you can slot in at first base if you want. That's okay. That's strong. Okay.
A lot of high on base guys too.
Yeah. You know what? That's okay with me because I really, really like the Orioles infield depth. But it's starting to go away. Okay, so I have two picks. I have two outfielders on my roster. I think with you having a full infield and only your flex spot available to take another infielder if you choose,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to shore up my outfield and take Heston Kjerstad.
Okay.
Tough between him and Haskin. I like Hudson Haskin a lot, but I'm going to go with Kjerstad, throw him on a corner. So now I've got.
I think they're both trade candidates.
I think so too. All right, I have my catcher in Rutschman. We're going to go infielder, and I'm going to take Joey Ortiz. I love the glove. I think the bat is going to play enough to keep him in a regular major league lineup. He hit another home run last night, stole 2 more bases at Norfolk. I like Joey Ortiz a lot. He's going to be my second infielder.
The bat has been phenomenal at both AA and AAA since the beginning of July.
It has.
And the glove has been major league ready probably since last year. So that's a strong pick.
Right. I'll probably slot Westberg over at second and Ortiz at short, but we'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
Let's see what we got here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and take my pitcher now because I think you're going to take him. I think he's a clear-cut guy. And that is Carter Baumler.
He was the number 1 pitcher on my list, but I don't think it's as clear-cut as you do.
Well, he was drafted to be a starter. He was given overslot money to forego his commitment to college, and he compared himself to a more athletic Zach Greinke, which is a pretty damn good.
Yeah, I remember that quote. That's the confidence you want.
And it's the kind of confidence that you want rather than calling yourself a Porsche that you got to take out of the garage.
Yeah.
And I know he had Tommy John surgery, but then he came back and pitched pretty well. I haven't seen what he's done in a while at the minor league level, but when he came back, he looked pretty good to start. So Carter Baumler is a guy that I'm taking now. So I have 6 picks. I have 4 left. Let me see.
I think I like Judd. Okay, Judd Fabian.
Judd Fabian is
another 2022.
Well, they wanted him in 2021, and the Red Sox came in and took him to pick before the Orioles, and then he didn't sign. So then they got him in 2022, and he hit the ground running. And the guy's got stupid power. So that's a guy who maybe if he doesn't get on base quite as much, it's okay because he could hit 40 homers. So that's who I'm taking. So I have 7 picks, and I got 3 left.
Okay. So I'm at 6. I've got Adley, I've got Westberg and Ortiz. My outfield is set. Do I want to go back to infielder is the question. I do need 1 more infielder. I need 2 more infielders and my flex. I can wait on pitcher now. Okay, so pitcher will be my last pick with you taking Baumler off the board. And I suspect catcher will be your last pick, which means you're going to go outfielder and position player here. So I'm going to take 2 more infielders. I want Cesar Prieto.
Leads all Orioles in strikeout rate. All organizational players. That's a good pick. Not good defensively, but he doesn't
No.
strike out. He gets on base, and he's got great bat skills.
Yeah. And my other infielder is going to be who do I want to go here? I'm gonna take Max Wagner.
Max Wagner.
My first 2022 draft pick off the board. I'll probably slot him in as my first baseman. He was a third baseman in college, ACC Player of the Year. I think his OPS his senior year was like 1.3 something. So I like that bat in my lineup. I'm gonna go with Max Wagner.
Okay. So I still need I need another outfielder, a catcher, and then one more person to be my DH. So, and I have 2 picks now, right?
2 picks.
So my outfielder, so I need an outfielder, a catcher, and a position player. So my outfielder is John Rhodes.
Okay. I like that pick.
I'm going to throw
Very
you.
solid for us. A guy who doesn't have a lot of name recognition, but a really solid player.
I'm going to throw you a curveball here because I don't think you thought of this guy. Ramon Urias.
What? I did not think of him at all.
Ramon Urias.
Wait, he was a waiver claim.
He was signed out of the Mexican League. He's never played.
That's right.
He's never played for any other organization. He was signed out of the Mexican League. I can go back and double check. If he was ever in another organization, I can't take him. But unless he played for that organization and then went to the Mexican League and then was signed out of the Mexican League. But I'm almost certain that.
No, he was in the Cardinals organization in 2018 and 19.
Right, but then he was playing in. He was taken out of the Mexican League. I'm almost certain of it.
Let's see. Orioles sign Ramon Urias.
He played for. Where is it? They don't have the Mexican League.
No,
here.
He was claimed off waivers by the Orioles on February 11th, 2020. Was that so? Wait, does that mean? Can you claim a guy off waivers from the Mexican League?
He was with St. Louis in 2019. Let me see. They don't have his.
All right, his Wikipedia says he was DFA'd by the Cardinals on February 6, 2020, claimed off waivers by the Orioles on February 11th, 2020.
Ah, damn it. I thought I found a loophole. I thought that they signed him out of the Mexican League.
I respect the effort to be a little sneaky there.
I thought that I thought they signed him out of the Mexican League.
It looks like he played in the Mexican League while he was in the Cardinal system.
So was he DFA'd by the Cardinals and then was playing in the Mexican League when the Orioles signed him?
No, because he was claimed 5 days later, 5 days after the DFA.
Okay. All right. No Miguel Gonzalez. All right. Damn, I really thought I thought about this like way earlier today. I was like, Ramon Urias was signed out of the Mexican League. I can take that guy because he's an international signing.
You would have snuck that right past me if I wasn't so skeptical. I was gonna believe you too, and then I had to look it up.
Yes, I'm glad you did because somebody else would have called us out for it, and I would have felt like a heel, like I was underhanded. I really believed that he was in the Mexican League because he had no major league experience with any other team, and they've always said that he was plucked out of the Mexican League. I've heard them say it on multiple occasions. But if he was playing in that league while he was a member of the Cardinals organization, I can't take him.
It's kind of like Julio Rodriguez last year playing for the Dominican Republic while he was still with the Mariners farm system.
Yeah, in that Dominican Winter League. I always thought that was a little bit different. I didn't realize that. Like I thought the Mexican League was its own thing, and the Dominican. But all right, now I got to go back to the drawing board here. Damn, I really thought I had one, a sneaky one. All right.
So you need your DH utility, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
and you need a catcher.
Yeah.
I'm curious who you're gonna take at catcher. Oh, let's go. Sorry, fantasy baseball update. I plucked Elvis Andrus off the free agent pool today for a playoff matchup because I'd like to gain some ground in the offensive categories, and my opponent only has like 5 or 6 guys on his team playing, and I wanted a full roster. So I had a roster spot, picked up Elvis Andrus. He just hit a home run, making me look like a genius. Anyway, back to the draft.
Nice. So let's see. I've got for my outfielders, I've got Beavers, Fabian, Rhodes. So I need a catcher and a position player. All right. Hang on a second.
Curious to see where you're gonna go here. I have 2 guys. This is a good position to be in because if you don't take, you can't take both of these guys.
You are absolutely right. I can't. They don't have this guy listed on Baseball Reference. Okay.
There's 2 guys I want, 3 I'd be happy with.
Sorry, this really threw me for a loop. The Urias not being
Not being
eligible
able to take Urias.
really threw me for a loop. All right. Is it Darrell or Daryl Hernandez?
Damn it, Paul. You son of a bitch.
He's had a
Darrell
really good
Hernandez.
year. Good defender. He's got really great speed, stolen base guy. I just wanted to be sure that he's like I haven't really paid attention to his batting average. It's just like his defense and the steals. He's had a little bit more power this year, but he's been a productive player in all 3 of his seasons. So he's my guy with my 9th round pick.
Okay, I respect that. I was hoping to sneak him in as kind of a platoon with Cesar Prieto.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big Hernandez guy. He follows me on Twitter. Super nice dude. Love watching him play. I really like that pick for you. Okay. I have 1 left. Actually, I have 2. So I need my pitcher and my final position player. This is tough, man. There's a lot of guys I like. But I'm gonna start with my position player, and it's got to be for me. I really like Braylon Tavera's upside.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I'm sorry to do this to you, Paul, but we never specified that my backup hitter, my DH, can't be a catcher. Um, I'm gonna take Samuel Basallo. I think there's a ton of upside in that bat. It's tough to take it. There's a lot of guys left that I like.
I forgot he existed. I forgot he existed. I can't believe I forgot he existed. I forgot he existed because
Samuel Basallo.
he hasn't gotten to organized to stateside pro ball yet. He's been
Right.
playing in the Dominican Summer League, and then he was playing in the Complex League, which is still stateside, but he hasn't gotten to an affiliate yet.
Right.
So
Yeah, I like.
he's like 18 years old.
Right. I think there's a ton of upside there. He's one of the guys who posts a lot of video on social media. You know, his family's always sharing stuff with him cranking balls in the batting cage and whatnot. I think there's a ton of upside there. I promise I'm not just doing this to make your catcher worse. Although I guess if you had forgotten about him, he wasn't going to go there anyway.
Yeah, he wasn't.
But
That's
I
a
really
really
like
damn
that
good pick.
pick.
If I remembered about him, I probably would have taken him ahead of one of my outfielders.
You know what I could do? I could put Basallo at catcher, Adley at first base, and keep Wagner at third.
Why would you
Nick
want to do
Prieto
that?
at DH.
Yeah, because his
We'll see.
defense isn't great.
We're not gonna do that on the show, but afterward, I'll just have you text me your lineup um,
I
and
think
your
I think
configuration.
I think that's cutting off your nose to spite your face. Because Adley's the better catcher, and we've never seen at the major league level what he can do at first base. Just
That's
like
true.
just like
That's
you
true.
see him from the left side, he's a world beater batting, but from the right side, he's been very subpar. You don't know if that's the same thing where catcher's his best spot, and then first base he can do it, but he's not great.
That's true. Yeah, I'd probably end up just keeping Wagner at first. Although I'm not, to be honest, I'm not sure if he has any college or pro experience at first base, but most third basemen at
Can
least
make
can
that
hold their own
transition.
over there.
Yeah.
All right, so now I need my pitcher. Uh, After Baumler, I have 3 names that I'm trying to choose from. Um, and the one I'm gonna go with, Paul, I'm not sure how confident I am. Okay, hey, give me 10 seconds here. I think I'm happy with this pick. Yeah, let's do it. Okay, the guy I'm gonna go with was not drafted. He was not an international signing. He was an undrafted free agent after the shortened 5-round 2020 draft. My pitcher is going to be Ryan Watson. Big
Ryan
right-hander out of
Watson.
Auburn. I like him a lot. He put up great numbers at Bowie this year, earned a promotion up to Norfolk. Strikes out more than a batter per 9. Hardly ever walks anybody. I love that in a starting pitcher. I am pretty confident in that pick. I think Watson could be a spot starter for the Orioles as soon as the end of next season.
Okay.
I'm going to take Ryan Watson. Not just because his name is Ryan.
Oh man. So there have not been a whole hell of a lot of catchers taken
There
in
have
the
not.
Mike Elias regime, and you have the two best ones because you're a prick. And um, I think you totally took him to make my team weaker. I don't care what you say.
To be honest, I was choosing between uh, an outfielder and an infielder, and then I looked over at my catcher rankings. I was like, wait a minute, I can take him. But there is one catch. There are 3 other catchers I had on my list. There's one that I think is the Orioles' future backup catcher. It has not been taken. But what do I know?
Yeah.
I'm just the guy with the podcast.
See, that's the thing. I didn't get to do um, much prep for this.
Yeah, I feel a little bad because I kind of
You sprung
introduced
this
this
on me,
idea last night.
and then
You were on the bus.
and then I was asleep when you sent the breakdown of what we could take, and then I had too much going on today during the day to do much by way of looking into this.
Was
But it's
it was
okay.
it was it your birthday this week?
My birthday was on Tuesday.
Oh, okay. Happy birthday.
Thank you. You're a terrible friend, but
I wish I had known that. I would have done a surprise guest celebration or something
yeah,
for you on the
don't
show,
don't
but
uh don't think I didn't notice. I'm just kidding, man.
I know.
Eh. All right. I'm just gonna take him because Maverick Hanley. I think he's the Orioles' future. I think Brett Cumberland is honestly the Orioles' future backup catcher, but he came over in a trade in 2018. So I'm gonna. There's nobody else. Maverick Hanley.
Yeah, that would have been my pick there as well. Uh,
And I
Defensive
was
stud, and the bat has really started to come together this year. He's hitting for power. I was at Bowie last Friday night, and he hit an absolute tank. I don't know the exit velo or the distance, but it was one of those swings that the ball sounds different coming off, and it disappeared into the trees beyond the left field fence. I'm a big Maverick Hanley guy, and I think that's a strong pick for your catcher this late in the draft.
well. Thank you. Yeah, man, that Arias thing really freaking threw me off. All right, I think you have one more, two more. No, one more pick.
I'm done.
Oh, you're done.
This is your wait. Hang on.
That's it. No,
One,
you got
two.
one more pick. You got one more pick.
Do
'Cause
I? One, two,
yeah,
three.
because I had the first. Or no, I guess that's it.
No, I have 10. So yeah, so you had one.
Yeah, that's
Hang
right.
on. Did we do this right?
So you got Basayo, and who was your pitcher?
Ryan Watson.
Yeah, no, we did this right. We did this right
Okay.
because it's the 10th round, which is an even number, which means I would have had the second pick in the 10th round. We did it right. You've got 10. You've got Adley, Colton, Westberg, Stowers, Kerstad, Ortiz, Prieto, Wagner, Basayo, Watson. So
Right.
that's 10. I've got Gunnar, Jackson, Beavers, Norby, Mayo, Balmer, Fabian, Rose, Hernandez, Hanley. Yeah, we both got 10. I'll tell you, man, I had a
Oh,
really
I didn't.
strong.
You're right. I didn't write her names down for you. I was so mad at you for picking him from me. Forgot to write him down. Okay, that makes sense because you should have only had the one pick at the tail end. So that makes sense.
I feel like I was really strong in the first half of the draft, and you were really strong in the second half of the draft. Not that you weren't strong in the first half. I mean, getting Adley, Colton Cowser, and then Kerstad in with your fifth in the fifth round is that's a steal if he doesn't get traded. I don't like that his bat hasn't really come to life too much in Aberdeen, but I mean that's he's a former number 2 overall pick, and once he really gets going, the power is going to be crazy.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. We'll see what the people think of it. I think this was a really fun exercise.
yeah, it was a
It would
ton of
have
fun.
been way more difficult if we had any more than just the two of us. Um, but yeah, I did my little mock draft, and I anticipated that you were going to get the trivia question right, which you did. I thought you were going to take Adley, and my two I was going to go with Gunner and Colton Cowser, and then that would have left Jackson Holiday on the board for you. That's two number one overall picks. So in a sense, I'm kind of glad it didn't go that direction because I think two number one overall picks is almost a lock
Mm-hmm.
to be the best roster overall. But I think we both did well here. You took a couple guys a few guys that I really wanted in Norby, Mayo, and Hernandez. I think Balmer was a really good pick. I didn't expect you to go pitcher that early, but
I
I
the only
think you
reason
got the clear number one.
the only reason that I went that early is because just like in fantasy, it's like I want this guy, and if I wait till my next pick, he might not be there. So
Yeah,
it wasn't a matter of taking him because I thought that he's the sixth best overall prospect for the team. It's because I think he's the best pitching prospect, and if I didn't take him then, I might not have gotten him.
yeah. I'm gonna throw out a couple honorable mentions here, guys that were not taken. Hudson Haskin, Braylon Tavera, Reed Trimble, a few outfielders. Michael Hernandez was kind of our big ticket international signing a couple
Yeah,
years ago and hasn't really done much in the way of hitting at the
right.
minor league level. Hopefully, as he continues to get older, he starts to figure it out a little bit.
He's just still
Um,
so young and so raw that it's. I
yeah,
mean, he was signed at 16 years old, and I think that um, most people that would see this list wouldn't think of him. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So if they saw him on the list, they'd be like, "Who?"
right.
So you know what I mean. So I'm doing this because I believe in these guys, but also because I want to win. I want to be the guy that has the best lineup.
Exactly. And then a couple pitchers I wanted to shout out: Carlos Tavera and Justin Armbruster, a couple guys I had on my list as
Mm-hmm.
possibilities to take. So that is a wrap. We're at 59 minutes, so we got in just under an hour. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about? I know I've kind of mentioned before that we're not really in the business of like recapping series because you can find that stuff anywhere. But I think
Right.
it's important to talk about a few things that stood out, and then had a little fun.
I um I wanted to add on to it because while I think that the Orioles they could make the playoffs, but I've said the last 2 weeks and on both of my shows that I don't think they're going to. And I want to say a part of that is, and I went off on Sunday when the Orioles lost a ball game to the Red Sox 1-0, and it's the one of the worst pitching staffs in all of baseball, and they scored 7 runs that entire series. They needed to win that series, and on Sunday, Hyde puts out a lineup that just was clearly not going to get the job done, and then they didn't get the job done. And I went off. I do not like Brandon Hyde as a manager, and I think that he makes some very questionable at best decisions regarding his lineup, regarding his rotation. I think starting Tyler Wells at this point in the season as an opener is a huge mistake, especially when both has given you really quality innings, and Dean Kramer did too. And Dean Kramer wasn't great the other night um, against a bad Nationals team, and he picked up the win because the Orioles finally got the bats going, even though they went 2 for 15 with runners in scoring position. But I look at these decisions that he makes, and I can't imagine that Mike Elias would be the one making those decisions. I think Hyde gets pretty much free reign to write out the lineup and use the rotation the way that he wants to. And one of the things is, if the Orioles win on Friday and Saturday against the Blue Jays, I know that Sunday's lineup is going to be garbage. I know that he's going to put out a lineup that is not good enough to sweep the Toronto Blue Jays, because he hasn't proven to me that he's willing to do otherwise. And I just don't like how he's managing down the stretch. I think he manages like it's April and May instead of August and September. And to me, that's reason 1A why I don't think that they're going to get the job done and get into the playoffs, is because he refuses to field a competitive team in the games where they have an opportunity to move up a little bit. Day game after night game, Rutschman's not catching. And chances are, if Chirinos is in the lineup, Aguilar's probably in the lineup, and McKenna's probably in the lineup, because he's going to use that day to rest all of his guys. And it gives me anxiety to hate on Brandon Hyde so much. I don't like to do it, and a lot of it is because I think people will be less inclined to come on my show when I spew so much vitriol towards the Orioles manager. I just think that he's not doing a great job, and I think that he's going to win Manager of the Year, and to me that means absolutely nothing. It means absolutely nothing, because as for a manager, all that matters is World Series trophies, and I don't think he's the guy that gets them there. So I think he's the reason that they don't make the playoffs ultimately. But that's all I wanted to say, and it's par for the course for me. So
Yeah, it seems like at least twice a week he's inexplicably putting out a lineup that he's resting multiple guys. It doesn't make sense. Even Wednesday night against the Nationals, it's a 2-game series bookended by off days.
Yep.
And you're putting out a lineup on Wednesday night without Mullins and without Stowers, and I understand Odor's hurt. Mullins had been hit by a pitch the night before, maybe just getting a little extra rest, but moving Hayes up to leadoff didn't make sense. Gunnar at 8 didn't make sense.
McKenna
Aguilar at
at 6.
DH. McKenna was 7, I believe.
No, Mateo was 7.
Mateo was 7. Gunnar was.
No, maybe Mateo
was 9.
was 9.
Mateo
No,
was
Mateo
was 9.
was 9.
Yeah. I was gonna say, because you said earlier the second inning rally. I think you said that Mountcastle, Santander, and Urias.
Yeah, that's
got
right.
on. So it was Hayes, Rutschman, and Mountcastle were retired in order in the first, and then it was Santander who started that
That's
rally.
right, Santander,
Urias, and Aguilar.
That got on base.
But yeah, it was a weird lineup last night. I had sent out a tweet where I basically just said I don't get it, and then after they scored 4 runs in the 7th, I said I get it now. But really, that's just the results.
Well, they scored 4 runs once they pinch hit for Aguilar. For Aguilar with Vavra, who scored on that base into the corner, and they pinch ran Vavra, and they pinch hit Mullins, who got a base hit, and then
those 3 went 3 for 3. Or those 2 guys went 3 for 3 the rest of the game.
They did.
And Gunnar Henderson came up, had a chance against the right-handed pitcher, and took advantage. There's certainly criticism to go around. I think he manages kind of like how I do on MLB The Show, where I like to start my regular guys, and then when the little energy bar gets a little too close to low, I'll throw in all 4 of my bench guys, because I know I can hit with Tyler Nevin and Yusniel Diaz and Jorge Mateo and whoever else.
Right.
And I think Jonah Heim is my backup catcher. This is not MLB The Show.
Right.
You're not controlling all these players. You can't put out a lineup where it's, obviously you're not putting your best foot forward and expect them to not have a bad offensive performance. And we've been proven time and time again that when that's the case, when those are the lineups that are put out, the Orioles offense does not contribute. Now, to be fair, the Orioles offense as a whole has not been great lately.
It's been very inconsistent all year.
Wouldn't you rather lose with your best? I mean, if this is all hypothetical, of course, but let's say the Ravens are 8-7 going into week 17. They got 2 games left.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to use Lamar Jackson. Let's say Rashad Bateman is has he started all 15 previous games.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to rest Rashad Bateman in week 17 so that I can start James Prochet and get him in the lineup.
Right.
That's not going to give me the best chance to win. Not when you're 8-7 in a wild card hunt trying to make the playoffs. I understand football and baseball are different animals, and football players don't get rest days because they've played a lot. But I can't comprehend that. And I try not to be too hard on Brandon Hyde. I
It's
try not to
hard
be too
not to.
harsh. But
It
yeah, I find myself flustered when I see the lineup at least a couple times a week.
Well, yeah,
That's what it comes
and
down to.
the Sunday lineup where he rests Rutschman to DH Aguilar. He has Chirinos catching. I think he was Valvera playing second base and Urias was playing third that game, or was it Odor? No, it was Odor at second and Urias at third,
Yeah,
I
Lauber
believe.
hasn't started a game since September 3rd.
Yeah. So, but he didn't have Gunnar and he didn't have Rutschman in the lineup, and I'm looking at him like, this kid's 21 years old. This guy's 24 years old. It's their first taste of the big leagues. Um,
You think they're
yeah,
tired?
and even then, you need this game, and you have an off day on Monday. I understand that most catchers don't catch a day game after a night game. I get that, and we're probably done with the days where a catcher catches 140 to 150 games a year. I understand that, but that's a game you need. If the Orioles lose 1-0 and Rutschman, Mullins, um, Santander, Henderson, Mountcastle, Arias are all in that lineup and they just didn't hit, okay, that's fine. I can live with that because they had a bad game. But you rested, at the very least, you rested Rutschman and Gunnar Henderson, who have been two of your best offensive players this month, with an off day on Monday. And then another off day on Thursday. They're going to get plenty of rest this week. Go out and try and win a ball game. And it stinks because I know that the same thing's going to happen this Sunday, where he's not going to field a representative lineup because it's a day game after a night game, and that just sucks to me, and that's why they're not going to make the playoffs.
Well, get ready because the Orioles have 20 games in 20 days to end out the season. Thursday's their final off day of the year. It's a grind from here on out, and the Orioles need to play out of their minds if they want to sneak into a playoff spot.
Yeah,
Paul, thank you as always. It's been fun. I think this was a fun episode, a good
yeah.
exercise in looking back at Elias's drafts and signings and what he's been able to do since he became GM. We'll let the fans vote on our lineups. You can just text me your positions and batting order and all that, and I'll make some kind of cool graphic and share it, and hopefully we get some engagement on that. Subscribe to our YouTube, buy a shirt. They're nice. They're comfy. They're cool looking. Supports us. We don't have our names on them because we thought that was kind of weird. So we took the names off, so you don't have to walk around with our names on your chest. But
That's
the logo would be
precisely
cool.
why I didn't care that I didn't have the Adley shirt or the Gunner shirt, because I think it'd be like, I'm willing to wear a jersey, but to wear a shirt that just has a guy's name like "Welcome to the show, Adley Rutschman," like, I think that's weird.
Yeah. I agree. And that's why the shirts at birdlandsports.com are sick. Like I said, I ordered
Yeah,
4 of them. It cost me less than $60. Use the promo code ThatFan for 20% off. They were already running a sale on a couple Gunner shirts. I got my 2023 World Series Champions T-shirt. I'm pumped to get that and wear it. I'll have a couple podcast shirts. So yeah, go ahead and do that. Thank you as always to Derek and Tony at Utah Street Report for hosting the pod. And we'll see you guys. It'll be another early episode next week. We have an interview coming on Monday, so that episode will be out either late Monday or Tuesday.
you don't
But
want to tease who it is, or
we can. I don't know. I teased before I stopped doing the podcast. I teased my next guest, and then that guest stopped responding to me, and it broke my heart because it was someone I loved.
mm-hmm.
Um, we can do it. I mean, hey, if you're sure that he's down to come on, you can go ahead and tell everybody who it is.
Yeah, we got Mike Bordick coming on the show on Monday. Mike's a hell of a guy, and
Yeah.
he has never not responded to me. And I think there's only been twice that he said no to me, and it's because he had previous engagement, whether it was a baseball. I think both times it was a baseball academy thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I am 100% confident that he's going to be talking. He's a guy who, if he makes a commitment to you, he's going to keep it. And he committed to Monday. So I'm 100% confident that Mike Bordick will be on the show with us on Monday.
Well, I'm excited about that. He was one of my favorite players when I was a kid. I used to love doing his batting stance, the bat real high, open stance, bouncing the bat around, busy hands. Uh, so I'm excited to chat with him next week, and I hope you all tune back in and join us. And we'll see you next time
Go
on Give That.
subscribe.
Go subscribe on YouTube. I guess you can subscribe on Spotify and all that stuff,
Yeah.
something like that. We'll see you next week on Give That Fan a Podcast.